I want to tell you a story how a cell pole without tower committee recommendation, without a permit yet installed in my front yard. My name is Vicky Huo. I have lived at 7800 Brickyard Road, Potomac, Maryland for 31 years. The council is considering a zoning rules to make it even faster and easier to install very tall cell poles even closer to people's homes. But before you do so, I believe the council should fully fix the process for reviewing and approving cell poles, the process that mostly unchanged for 7 years. I want to tell you a story how a cell pole without tower committee recommendation, without a permit yet installed in my front yard. The process utterly failed my neighbors and my family 7 years ago when the county allowed Pepco to remove and replace a 35-foot pole with a 68-foot pole that is about 40 feet away from our bedrooms. Pepco and Crown Castle stated the cell pole had been approved at a public meeting and as a result received a permit to construct this facility, referred to as Note 9. But none of that was correct. In fact, what the Tower Committee actually recommended in a public meeting on May 5th, 2010, was to install at 7701 Brickyard Road, a wireless facility on a specific pole. That specific pole is across the street and 150 feet away from my house at 7800 Brickyard. This pole is situated more than 100 feet away from any houses in that neighborhood. The DPS permit clearly show an address of 7701 Brickyard Road, but on their work order attached to the permit, someone decided to move Note 9 to 7800 Brickyard Road, my home. How does this possibly comply with applicable standards and procedures? So my neighbors and I petitioned the county council for help, and we were stunned to receive this response. Quote, even every council member agree with your recommendation to relocate the pole. We lack the authority to enforce that recommendation. So what happened is that it exposed, one, the Tower Committee has no responsibility for the final decision on the placement of cell poles. Second, DPS has no accountability for the accuracy of permit.
Thank you.
Nor compliances with Tower Committee.
Thank you, Ms. Huo.
3.
Excuse me, everyone has the same time.
And
we are
most
all
importantly,
equal.
when mistakes are made,
all right.
the council has no desire nor authority to fix or enforce anything.
Thank you. All right.
I am Rick Meyer with the Montgomery County Coalition for the Control of Cell Towers, mc4t.org. Many communities require notice provisions, particularly for cell poles constructed in residential zones. These rules are intended to engage the community to help local governments prevent mistakes and keep applicants within the scope and the scale of their permits. Not so in Montgomery County, where for 7 years since small cells were first introduced, residents have been totally locked out of review and permitting processes, no notice, no input. And because we're purposely kept in the dark by the Tower Committee, the public must rely exclusively on an overworked and understaffed Department of Permitting Services to prevent construction mistakes on wireless attachments to utility poles in the rights of way. In my testimony in April, I summarized MC4T's physical inventory of more than 50 cell poles around the county. We found that more than half of these small cell facilities were non-conforming to the Tower Committee recommendations: too tall, inside minimum setbacks, oversized with too many antennas, installed without conditional use hearings, and even installed in the wrong poles at the wrong addresses. You'll hear more from that tonight from Vicky Huo. Many of these cell poles have multiple nonconformance issues. How is that possible? Well, to the specific questions by Mr. Lementhal and Mr. Ehrlich a few minutes ago, this summer we finally got our answer. County staff prepared an unsigned ZTA 1811 frequently asked questions document, and it includes an extraordinary paragraph about DPS. That document states very clearly that previously DPS performed no, and I repeat the word no, zoning reviews on cell poles and public rights of way. And further, the FAQ explained that there has been absolutely zero interdepartmental coordination to match up Tower Committee recommendations with the scope and scale of permits issued by DPS. So for the last 7 years, the actions of the Tower Committee have been irrelevant to the actions of DPS. This is an unbelievable Rip Van Winkle moment. DPS has suddenly awoken and is reportedly changing their procedures to perform inspections going forward. And what about those dozens of poles identified in our inventory? Well, they're still there, and we don't have a single instance to report to you of any enforcement action or any planned enforcement action. This must stop. Please work with us, engage with us. We have so much information to share. We have so much to learn from other communities. Appoint a citizens task force and adopt a fully comprehensive zoning proposal, not duct tape and chewing gum ZTAs that pop up every 6 months. Vote no. Thank you so much.
Ian Dingwall.
Good evening. I'm still Ian Dingwall. I'm here representing the Wesley Homeowners Association. We are 337 homes in North Potomac, Maryland. Frankly, I'm here to speak on behalf of myself as well. I moved here 40 years ago into a farmer's field at the time. Since that time, we've designed a park next to my home called DeFeef Park. We've put in natural gas to our home, cable. All this happened in cooperation with the county. Frankly, I don't feel the same kind of give and take with the county over the construction of small cell towers. To my surprise, outside my door is the proposed location of a cell tower. I know this because they've already installed a box marking where it will go. This happened without my knowledge. It just happened. I was outraged to find this. And then I happened to ask one of my neighbors, so what are they doing? What are they installing? What does it look like? And I heard that they're putting in a 5G small tower. First time I ever heard of a 5G small tower. And he said to me, I don't know what it's going to look like, but, you know, frankly, my concern is safety. I don't know what you propose to put in my front yard. I don't know how safe it is. I don't know if it's as safe as a microwave oven in my kitchen, or as troubling as perhaps the x-ray that my dentist takes of my teeth once a year. And I don't think you do either. And that's what concerns me. Doing a little research, I found out that the chairman and former CEO of Verizon says these things don't need to be located within 30 feet of your house. They can actually be put out on the old 4G towers that are out on our perimeter roads. And so that seems like a simple fix. Don't put 16 cell phone towers in my neighborhood. We don't believe small towers belong in residential areas. And so there's an easy solution. Put it out. Put it out on the highways. And I would submit to you that if you don't know what the safety associated with these towers are, you should have the companies put a sticker on the tower. Warning, don't stand here for more than 10 minutes. Something that tells us what it is that this tower is emitting. and then we'll know, and we'll decide to move away if that's what we want to do. But to just simply say that the government won't let me
Thank you.
is a mistake.
Thank you, Mr. Dingwall. Cliff Sosin. All right. Lee Shen. All right. Mark Preslin. Nope. James Sledge. You get the last word tonight.
Yeah, hi, I'm Jim Sledge. I'm from Germantown. Glad to be number 44. And I do appreciate that this has been going on for a while, but I still think there are a lot of things that we have said over and over and over and aren't reflected in this ZTA. You say that you can't legislate based on health effects, yet here we are. You're changing the distance you can place it from your house from 60 feet to 30 feet. Isn't that legislating on that? So you're making a statement. At the same time, you're taking an action which is contrary to that statement. There's been a lot of evidence, which you are well aware of, and everyone in this room is well aware of, documenting the health effects. Making that change is irresponsible, and every one of you know it. I think there needs to be something that forces the providers to consider further distances from the house and prove to you that it's necessary to place them that close. There's nothing in here that protects us. We ask you, members of my community ask you about property values. There's nothing in this that protects us from property values going down because of these being placed closer to our homes. If you don't believe it to be a reasonable consideration, or you don't believe it to be the case, then certainly you should not be afraid to put something in here that would require the carriers to put funds aside to accommodate and take care of homeowners when it does occur. Post-installation reviews. There's nothing in here that requires that. There's nothing in here that shows coordination with those responsible for taking care of it. If it takes 7 years and something hasn't been taken care of, there's a problem. Fix it. You know how to fix it, and don't say it's not within your capability to do it. If you can't communicate with the rest of the people in our own county government, we've got a bigger problem here. Notification to homeowners. There's nothing in here that says when you're going to propose a tower close to a home that homeowners in that area have to be notified. That needs to be included. The last thing is, what happens to those towers that have already been approved by the Tower Committee which do not meet these zoning standards?
All right, folks. Thanks for participating.